Well, I wanted to start the interview, Kevin, by thanking you and welcoming you to Aaron's Opinion. Of course, I just interviewed Nikki last night here at the show, so now I
Wonderful.
get to speak with you. Very good. Let's start as I start most of my interviews by me saying, so who is Kevin Indigo?
Well, actually, it's Kelly Indigo, man.
Ah, ah,
Yeah, but my name is Kevin Monrose. I'm actually a producer, artist, a multi-instrumentalist, and I own a studio in St. Lucia called Sac Sound. So, I'm a bit of an all-rounder, you know?
okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you create your company? And, let's, please tell us more about, your life story and how you created your studio, your company, your brand, all of that.
Well, man, it's been a hell of a journey because everything comes from nothing, but it still has to be something. So when I was really young, I wanted to do music, but at the time, it didn't seem to be something that was really that awesome in my family. Although there are many musicians, but I didn't really get much support until I bought my first guitar, and I was like really about playing it and making stuff happen, doing little gigs, doing little shows after I taught myself, and I mean before my studio was called Indigo Records, but I changed it to Psych Sounds like about 4 years ago, and it's been a really good title. It's been a really good company. It's been making money due to the pandemic. Not really much has been happening concerning clients, but I have been working in this band with Nikki Alley Cat, so we've really been making music, and I mean humble beginnings for me, man.
Okay, okay. Now, when you play music yourself, what is your instrument and what is your what is your genre? Nikki really likes the dance music, but what is your genre that you really love?
Honestly, man, I'm about rock music, but like recently I gone into the dance music and I realized a lot of the songs that I played on my guitar are they qualify for that genre for the dance. So I've been really for the upcoming album been really pushing dance music, but rock and pop music is my genre, and my instruments are the acoustic guitar, the lead guitar, you know, bass, piano, ukulele. I play a wide variety, even the harmonica, to name a few. Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Okay. Now, I have a very interesting question. I wonder if you did we ever meet, because I actually volunteered at the Blind Welfare Association in 2014. So do you think we ever met in person? Because I know I met Nikki.
Okay, I'm not sure if we ever met in person, man, but it all feels good. I mean, I'm not a client at the Blind Welfare Association in St. Lucia, so I doubt we'd ever cross paths there, man. Maybe it's more of a spiritual thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not quite sure I understand, but I was just wondering, maybe I know I didn't quite get what you said about that, but I don't know, because I was volunteering at Blind Welfare Association back
Yeah,
in 2014, and that's where I met
yeah,
Nikki. So I just wondered,
yeah.
maybe had we met and I never really, realized that at the time. That's
I,
all. Hmm.
yeah, I don't think we have, man, because what I'm saying is I'm not a client at the Blind Welfare Association where you volunteered. So, us crossing paths around the area, I wouldn't really I don't remember that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
okay, okay. Well, still, Lucia's a wonderful place. So
Yeah,
you
man,
you
indeed.
guys have a wonderful island. Yeah, definitely. Well, of course, do you have some of your instruments there? Do you want to sing a little bit? Do you want to play a little bit of your music right here?
Man, I'd do something, you know, whatever. play a song. I don't know how possible it would be. My camera's on right now. But I'll play something. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. My guitar. I didn't really tune it before, but still gonna run it. All right, see how I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
We should time on a single song. Between the lines and you see you wrong. Damn, I kind of messed up. But anyways, you can cut that out, right?
That
Right?
that is this is unedited. No problem. No
You can cut
problem.
that out, right?
No problem. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So I could just do this. Cause so that is actually from one of the songs that's coming up on our upcoming album. You know, it's called Love Out of Time, and it's in the dance version. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good. That's excellent. Do you
Yeah,
have
man.
any of your other instruments that you would like to play? Do you have a harmonica or ukulele around
Man,
there?
well, I got the way it's set up is like my instruments they're like all over. Like, so I think the guitar is just fine, but they're all over. They're actually hung up right now. So I only
Oh,
have one in use right now.
I,
But
I
you know,
I see. I see. Very good. Very nice.
yeah,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that is extremely good. What about now this whole concept of Psych Studios? How did you come up with that name? What is the origin of the name of the studio?
Oh man, well, Psych sounds really
Psych
like
Sounds.
Psych Sound Studio. Well, it's really an out of the box name, and I believe it complements the studio because the music that comes out of it is not just any ordinary sound that you hear. We push it to the limits. We love to experiment with music, and you know, it's a work in progress, man. Like making it every day.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. So what are some of the experiments you said that you'd like to experiment with music? What music experiments have you done?
Well, just turning, like flipping them. Like, if it's if the genre is some kind of slow song, we'll put it upbeat. We put it in different, like we'll put it in rock. We've changed the genre up, and then with that, we get to experiment with different sounds, different leads, different basses, and you know, play some live bass on a dance track, and that kind of stuff. Play live instruments instead of synthetic stuff that you get on the computer. It's just changing songs up. I mean, Love Out of Time, the song that I just played, it was like a slow kind of vibe, and now it's like up to 130 beats per measure, so it's really fast. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
yeah.
really excellent. I tend to prefer music that's a little slower, slower tempo, a little bit slower, and a little bit more kind of that sort of feel, more
I
slow, more
got you.
spiritual, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But of course, upbeat is really good as well.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that Nikki was mentioning is that it's really hard for Lucian musicians to get their music out of Lucia and heard by other countries. One of the first things that you're doing, which is great, is that you're on my podcast. But what are
yeah.
some other ways that you've been trying to get your music globalized there in Lucia? What's going on?
All right. So radio stations are, there are ups and downs of radio stations because uh, during this pandemic, it's not really accessible to just go into a radio station. They'd probably do stuff like this kind of podcast kind of stuff, like, video to video conference talking about what the song is and how it was done and blah, blah. That would be your interview. A lot of radio stations don't want you to walk in. So you do a lot of online promotion, you do a lot of self promotion. I mean, that's the way we go at it. There's YouTube, there is SoundCloud, and there is Audio Mac. So we try our best to upload, especially on YouTube, uh, a lot of the music projects that we put out. You know, yeah, man. And there's social media also, so it's a bit of platforms that we could toggle through.
Sure. So basically, you in music, you have to do the same thing that a podcaster does: just work hard and keep improving your craft and keep producing music that you're passionate about over a period of time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is, man. Everything's got its work in it.
it definitely. That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, with YouTube, if you up the more you upload and the better it gets, the more views you get. But it is painfully slow, as you've seen. The progress is very hard to see, but over time you do see
Yeah,
the results. So never feel
yeah. I
discouraged.
believe
Hmm.
I believe like, it's something that you can't really watch. You can't really watch how many people's watching your video. I mean, you can, but then if you let it get to your head, then you'll only be doing it for this reason, and instead of putting it out for the goodness of God's vibes that He's been sharing with you. I believe the views will come when they're supposed to. If you're supposed to rake in 1 million views, you're gonna rake it in at some point. If it's just 80, it's just 80. I believe the more we share our music and market ourselves, the more it's visible to the world. So I mean, we're hanging in.
Absolutely. Yes. So where have you traveled to outside of Lucia to perform?
I haven't traveled outside of St. Lucia, but I've performed in St. Lucia quite a bit. Yeah,
I
man.
see. I see. And what types of events have you performed at?
I performed at like youth events, like youth fests, and I did back in 2016. I did the artistic one part. I did quite a few, man. Just performing all over. A lot of gigs, a lot of hotels. Like, and they give great exposure, and just different venues. I did something at Sun Valley Park in 2017. So it's a lot, man, quite a
Mm,
lot.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm. Yes. And what can you tell me specifically about the song that you sent me, the song that you would like me to include in the recording, in the audio podcast? You sent a particular song over WhatsApp. What is that song, and what's the history behind that song?
man. Waves is a cool one. Waves is I wrote Waves about Nikki actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, because we have this vibe. It's so awesome, and it Waves talks about a feeling like when you have something so great or someone so great, and the moment they leave or they go, you still hold them in your heart, but it's not easy to accept that fact that they're not there. So that's basically basically how it is. You know, they talked about not letting go. Actually,
Mm.
before it made Nikki, we listened to it. That's on the back burner for a bit, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna put it back to the front. We're gonna like rework it and make it better. Yeah, man.
Right. Sure, sure. No, definitely. That's really excellent. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Um.
that's what I'm talking about.
So, and by the way, so were you born blind? By the way,
I'm not visually impaired.
you are sighted. That is fine. That is
I'm
fine.
sighted. I'm sighted. My vision isn't 100%, but yeah, man.
Okay, I see. Well, then I mean a little bit more about this particular podcast about me. So I was born blind with glaucoma and I'm 30 years old. And I started podcasting because I felt that the what?
Hello?
Yes.
I didn't hear you properly. You kind of cut off.
Oh, so I said that I was born blind with glaucoma
Okay.
and I'm 30 years old. And I started podcasting because I felt that there needs to be a strong podcast in the community where people can come and have a conversation and guest about any topic that they are passionate about, and that's very
Yeah.
important for all of us in the arts and entertainment industry, whether it's podcasting or music, to start working together on some of these projects. So that's how I got into podcasting a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
And
man.
my day job is I'm a teacher and I teach English as a second language. So that's how
Nice.
that's my background. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm 24 years old.
Oh, that is fine. That is fine.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. I've been trying to make it work. I've been doing my best at it. I really want to go into video production and you know, like really add visuals to the music to give people a different feel of what it's about and just following the dreams, and taking it one day at a time.
Sure, 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 sure. Absolutely. Well, you can definitely do that, especially by making animations on YouTube and music
Yeah,
videos.
man.
And there's a lot that you can do. I will tell you, or I guess my advice to anyone who's trying to get into YouTube or content creation is to only focus on the content that you're producing and make sure that you love it. Make sure that you take ownership of your work,
Yeah.
and then when you do that, then other things will happen. So that's great. You can definitely produce music videos, but also don't take it too personally. There's a lot of these people around that produce all these, you know
Yeah.
like and I see them all the time. And really, one of the shows that I watch a particular show in the United States. I'm not going to name drop it, but I watch a particular show, and I always
Okay.
say every year, I always say, that would have been really good if it hadn't been overproduced. So
Yeah.
it's okay. What I'm telling you, Kevin, is it's
Yeah.
it's okay to underproduce. I accept
Yeah.
that. And so anyone that comes to you and says, well, it's a little underproduced, well, you should say, well, then it's a little good, because it gets old seeing the stuff that's overproduced. I don't want to see overproduced. I want to see good. So that's
Yeah.
very important, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Anything that I do, I just like, I mean, you can't sharpen it. You can't sharpen it all the way because if you think this is too loud in your song, or I'll talk from like the music aspect. If you think this guitar part or piano part is way too loud, then you'll know. But if you think it's in between and it's too loud, sometimes when you put it all the way down, you put it out there and someone still thinks that part was too soft or that part was too loud. I mean,
Yeah.
you go with what's in your heart. There's a standard to do music. There's a standard to do everything. but everyone still has their own styles, so you have to go with what's in your heart, go with what you feel. If you feel it'll be like a romantic vibe and you want to load that part down for right now for the whole song, you do that. I mean, that's my advice to any producer or any artist. Or I mean, a lot of artists, when they're in the studio, they don't really know what they want, or they don't really know how to ask for what they want, to say, hey, it should be like that. And a lot of the times, yeah, it's fun for the producer to think about it, but then I really think that we have to go with what's in our heart and just like really express that in
You
our
know,
craft.
you're 100% correct. I think the standard should be that you should do the best you can do. And when
Yeah,
you're
man.
genuine, that's the genuine standard of being genuine and believable. That's the standard that I listen to and subscribe to. So when someone's real and
Yeah,
genuine, it's really noticeable. When they aren't, it's really noticeable. So your advice is perfect, but let's let's say that someone comes to you. What is the process for someone getting a quote unquote record deal these days? We don't really call it record deals, but what is the process of music production these days?
yeah, man. Well, I'll still take it from my ends and say, like, man, you book a session. Like, basically, if you were an artist and you were interested in making a song, you contact me via my phone, send to my studio, and hey, I want to get a studio session. How can I get that done? Blah blah. What? How do you charge and stuff? I will walk through based on what the person even wants to be done. Uh, Different vibes, but they still have prices attached to them. And when someone books a session and they come into the studio, if it's a set song that they already have, it makes it a lot easier, especially if they can, like, think about the instrumentation and everything that goes on there. It's easier to work with than to just let them sing something out and make a whole beat around that. um, it's easier to work with a beat or an instrument to put a song together and form a whole beat around it. So that's usually what it is. In studio, sometimes I think it's like studio work takes time. So the process of studio work is do that again, don't do that again. This is good, being patient with the clients, and I mean, it's all about booking a studio session and just feeling the vibe, because like it's everyone is different, and every studio session will be different, provided that I give the same energy. So it's all the same, you know.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, man.
um I mean, because so many blind people. I mean, it's so wonderful to be able to have someone sighted here finally on the podcast. Whew, what a
Yeah, man.
relief! Because most obviously, if I'm blind, it's a blind podcast for blind people. So most of my guests are blind, but of course, sighted people like
Yeah.
you all over the world. Sighted people are always welcome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So a
man.
lot of blind people ask, like, a question that would probably be asked is, so how much does one of these studio sessions cost? In other words, do people need to already have kind of some backing to get into this, or how does what's the I guess what's the investment, or what's the loss? How much? What can you tell
Well,
us about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
well, a studio session, like I was just saying, it ranges. If you want me to mix and master the song, record it, charge it the time, man, that's like, you know, that's probably about $1,000 for a studio session, depending on what. If it's recording drops or recording like simple stuff, you know, probably about $400. It all depends, because you have to make something for the time in the day. All the stuff that you put into it. It's an investment, so you have to be able to get something back from it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Sure. Excellent. Um, and when do you usually come into your studio each day? And how many different artists can you have in your studio in one day? Do you work with one person a day, a couple people a day? How many have you tried to work with in one day?
Um, I work with a lot of artists in a day. These days, it's not so much like that. So it's more like, you know, like, you know, just working on stuff, working on stuff for albums, but like, um, and singles and stuff, dropping them up to like 90 at the same time. Uh, but if it depends on the studio session, and knowing the client that I'm working with, then it'll be like a solo session. So they'll just be, you know, face to face, one on one, and just working on their music because having a lot of people in the studio at the same time can be like a little bit to contend with, if you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of people, plus you have to do your work, and that person is supposed to be doing this, and so yeah, that's what it's about.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So let's say
Yeah,
that
man.
let's say that Nikki, let's say that Nikki comes into your studio. How long does it take her and you guys to produce one of her tracks? Does it all depend, or is it a full day? It just what do you
Man,
think?
honestly, it all depends on the song and the time we start. You know, some these like we don't just like slap stuff on there and that's it. unless it's towards the end of the day and we actually slap stuff on there and that's it. But like we don't yeah. So we're gonna continue that. We're gonna if we just slap stuff on that song, we're gonna continue it for the next studio session. But it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time to work on these songs because like with especially with Nicki's individual songs, it it has a lot of twists and turns,
Oh yeah.
and the bridge part she would sing something different in a different key. So all the different chords and all the notes have to be a specific way. So yeah,
Hmm.
working on the songs are fun, but they have a bit of work to them. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm. Sure. Yeah. So, and about these days, with all of the software that we have to edit tools and edit things, um,
Yeah.
how much of, if we listen to your typical song over YouTube or iTunes or any song, I know it would depend on the song, but how much of the music these days is created artificially through computer, and how much of any given song is created simply by our natural human voice? What percentages have you found?
All right, percentages.
Yeah,
Well, it all depends on the music. A
sure.
lot of music nowadays, like there's a lot of people who don't use autotune. There's a lot of people who don't use like strong pitch correction. A lot of stuff is done live, the same way a lot of stuff is done on the computer. I believe that it all depends on what you're trying to put out and the sound you're trying to get. To see if you will need a lot of pitch correction and if you'll need a lot of editing done to your vocals to make them sound less human. A lot of music these days uses pitch correction, autotune, and a lot of vocal enhancers. So I think it's just like it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both these days. Before it was less. I'm guessing it was less, but now it's in every song. Yeah,
So,
man.
I mean, can you tell us a little bit? Can you summarize for the listener in just a couple sentences what is the history behind auto tune and this pitch correction technology, and how does it work from an engineering perspective, basically?
Honestly, to tell you the history behind autotune, pitch correct, I do not know.
That
I
is
know,
fine.
yeah, I remember back in 2012, I used to work with it in some little works that I did, and you know, I wasn't all that good yet, but I had to go further and just learn a bit about it. Auto-tune basically gives the vocals a more modern and a more correct. There's a graph in there. If you sing something in this key, like you could just go like, and you could shift it up, like you could shift that so you don't make a mistake. You could, you could play with the notes in your vocals, and it makes it sound a lot sharper. I love autotune. I love to work with it. It's fun. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So it takes a lot of the work. It makes it easier to basically the answer is it makes it easier for you to produce more music because
Honestly,
yeah.
if you cannot sing, if I cannot sing, and if the next person cannot sing, like to hit these notes, you have to be able to actually hold your own to put that on your vocals, because a lot of vocals that aren't really put out properly, the autotune will make it go off key immediately. You have to be able to hold your own and put that on there so it could polish it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That is really really good to know. Very very interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. That is so good. So have you, outside of your studio work, how else are you spending your time?
Man, just taking it light. I mean, it's curfews on and stuff like that. I read, I read a lot. I watch TV shows. Um, you know, just doing other stuff. Doing other pet. I'm all about seeing about my animals. Helping my mom. She got a shop as well, so helping her out, selling for her, and just trying to make things work. Going out to the beach, taking some sun. These days it's really hot, but if you know how to like work with the vibe, you won't really be affected by it. That's what I believe. So I've been really out and about, and just vibing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes, Nikki was very pleased to tell me that she has 5 cats. So what about you? Do you have 5 cats?
I have one cat.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And
man.
what does in your mother's shop, what does she sell?
Man, she sells all kinds of stuff. It's like a little convenience store. She sells like bleach, like soap powders, snacks, biscuits, sodas, beer, like alcohol, cigarettes, like all that kind of stuff. I mean, whatever people buy around the area, she sells it.
So it's
On a
a
positive level. Oh my God. But you know
wow.
what
Okay.
I mean, man. Convenience store type of stuff, you know.
That was good material. You kind of walked yourself into that trap. You could you could have filtered out. See, if you had the trouble with that response was you didn't need to mention the cigarettes. The cigarettes is what brought it up. So you didn't need to mention that part.
Yeah, but like if people around buy candles, she sells candles, that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
okay. So if
Yeah.
someone needs like paper, you should just say if someone needs paper plates and paper cups for their kid's birthday party, she sells paper plates and paper cups.
Forks and spoons too. Yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
see. I
yeah.
see. Well, that's wonderful. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
man.
Yeah.
Really, really been a help to the neighborhood though. So, respect to her.
Well, all right. Well, you know what? Well, that's really good. You help out your neighborhood and you help
Yeah.
other Lucians. So I know that you've never traveled outside of Lucia, but do studios ever do like global projects where they help other studios like in other countries? Is that even possible? And have you ever done that?
Yes, I have, man. Like, man, it's different collaborations. I mean, uh, Nikki and I, when we put out our first project, we featured three artists from Nigeria on there. We featured UC, we featured Rex Jr., who did the bass on our song Company on the These Dreams album, and we featured Don Louis. So we featured a good bit of artists. UC got Mountain Studios, and Don Louis does his own stuff. He's a producer as well. So we collaborate with people.
Mm.
Just yeah, it's fun. I worked with Skylar Quinn already. She's Filipino. Yeah, that's how you say it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Different artists.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, that's cool. What is your opinion of these? And I've been to several of them just because I'm a podcaster, but the other thing that's getting popular are these like online concerts where it's like oh open mics. What's your whole philosophy and theory about like Zoom open mic nights and things like that? Those are really popular around the world these days.
Honestly, they're popular, and I wouldn't mind doing them. I believe uh, if it has to be done, just do it. If it's gonna work, just do it. Um, the Zoom and all these things when they came into play and were strongly like emphasized. I love the idea, but I must be honest with you. I'm a face-to-face kind of guy. I mean, I would go for it like now. If it was like we performing right now, I would go for it if it was at a venue. But I feel like online you have to kind of set up for it. It's cameras and somewhere where noise doesn't really get in and mess things up. I mean, it's a whole different world, but it's okay. But I would definitely go for the up close and personal reaching
Sure.
these people now for now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think one of my concerns, looking at it from my perspective, is I think we're going to have a lot of musicians who basically just do online music and never actually meet people in person. I think we're going to have a lot of musicians that are like that now.
Yeah, man.
From
I understand that and I subscribe to that.
hmm hmm
Yeah, because I mean, with this pandemic, it's very hard to get gigs and different things at different places. So putting music out in general, like if we made a song and we upload it right now, putting that on on YouTube or somewhere to reach people. If it was a live stream, it would work, because everyone's staying in.
Right. Or even if it's not live, even if it's a pre-recorded and
Yeah,
if it gets uploaded either way, that works. That's the trick behind that. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, because they're still gonna get to see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very, very good, very good. Well, that's really excellent. So, what are some questions? Because I'm an overly open person, no question will bother me. What are some questions that you've maybe thought of about blindness, about podcasting, about my neck of the woods? What do you really want to know about me? Ask all your questions.
All right. When you put a podcast on the radio, how long does it usually run for?
About an hour.
About,
So,
oh wow.
yeah, most of my recordings, depending on who it is, I would say I record from anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. And about it just depends on, the natural flow, the
Okay.
natural ebb and tide of the conversation.
Okay, I understand.
Mhm.
Um, that's cool. I dig that. I've heard a few podcasts on the radio, and you sound like you have a really good radio voice, man.
I
Like
appre-
honestly,
I
yeah.
appreciate it, man. You sound like you look like you're definitely a music producer. You should definitely have a studio. You have a really cool way of talking, a really good personality for it, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, man. Right back at you. I want to work in radio too. I want to get like I want to
Oh,
be a
you.
radio personality.
Oh, well, why didn't you tell me? Well,
Yeah,
I can get you on the radio. I don't know. I thought you were just too
really?
big. Yeah, of course. Of course. There's all sorts of ways that you can just tell me. Just let me know, man. There's all sorts of ways that I can get you onto some online stations here in the United States and help you to get your word out. I would love to do that.
Man, that
Um,
is wonderful.
yeah, seriously.
That
There's a
just touched
couple.
my heart. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what you're doing. Okay, now I kind of warmed you up like that because I probably have a crazy question at the end or something like that.
Yeah, that's okay.
But no, I know a lot of people, especially too. I mean, given that you're sighted, you might be less interested in it. But has Nikki ever mentioned to you UVC radio? Do you ever listen to them?
Of course, we
Oh,
were featured on UVC Radio with
oh, you.
Rocco and Larry.
Oh,
Yeah, we met
yeah.
those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know
we
them
did a segment.
because you know that one of my acquaintances in the community is of course King Rocco, the CEO. I know the CEO
Yeah,
of UBC Radio.
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that they are. I would guess that they probably are looking for shows, or maybe not. I really have no idea, but I do know that's a great. If you really want to get into radio and talk to people about it, those guys are great to talk to about it for sure. For sure.
Really?
Yes,
Man, that
definitely.
sounds great. That sounds
Definitely.
wonderful.
Yeah, you could definitely have some sort of a um I mean most because it's a station that is I mean you know what I mean when I say I don't really want to phrase it like it's a blind radio station. It's really not. It's an anyone radio station, but most of the producers are blind people, but that certainly does not mean that they would never have a vacancy. Stations get vacancies all the time and they
So
always
check this
need
out, man.
yeah, they
I
always
dig
need
that.
help.
I dig
Um,
that.
so
But
there's
I'll say this. I know like check this out. I know it's kind of like um it's kind of weird sometimes talking to people who are sighted and not knowing how to say certain things, but
mm-hmm.
it's actually honestly it's okay, man. I'm a down to earth person. I mean, when I remember the first day I met Nikki, I didn't even really know that she was visually impaired. All I did know was that, she was a really cool person until she told me. And then, I mean, like my whole life, I've been like preparing for this, like, and I thank God for giving me the open mind that I have and not making it into one that could be easily corrupted by, just how some people think
Mm-hmm.
ridiculously. So I'm really really cool with people who are blind or visually impaired. And even Mr. Avril, shout out to Mr. Avril,
I
Mr.
remember
Anthony
him.
Avril. Yeah, we chill, man. So we all chill sometimes, and just talk, man. Some really cool stuff, man. Big up the whole blind and visual impaired community, you know, shouting out from St. Lucia. Yeah, man.
I see. But yes,
Yeah.
there are definitely other podcasts and other ways for you to get involved in online radio for sure. Um, that is a definite thing, and you definitely should. I mean, if you really want to continue to expand your craft, your art, what you're doing, just get onto some radio shows, host your own maybe. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah, definitely. Online radio is still getting stronger and stronger by the day. For sure. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
man.
That's very
Um,
interesting. In fact, yeah, because Nikki was telling me yesterday, we had a wonderful, really touching interview. She was saying how she reads books. I said, "Oh, that's great. So you read on Audible, right? You listen to the books." She says, "No, I use a magnifying glass." I said,
yeah.
like that's okay. I'm blind and I think that's weird. Like that weirds me out. Like I said, but doesn't it hurt your eyes? And she said, well, a little. But then how do you
Yeah.
sit there and you read a whole book Nikki has a lot more vision than I do. For sure she would.
Yeah.
Because I have usable vision, but I don't have enough to like read print. She can read print. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. She looked like she more like she's more like okay with it right now with using the magnifying glass um when it comes to herself. Like, because I don't think she was all the way always okay with using it. Um, but then she's a lot better with it now, and I mean we call it a third eye. She likes it.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
could she could read well enough with it.
So so when Nikki comes in to record, does she does she bring her magnifying glass so she can read the
She
music
she
through the magnifying glass?
she always has her third eye. If Nikki does not have a third eye today, something is very wrong.
So she always, that is so interesting.
She always. And if she said like, oh wait, I would stretch and take it for her and give it to her so she could read her phone. She, yeah, man, it's a
Mm,
really big part of all of this.
that magnifying glass thing. See, for someone who was born blind like me, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but it's just kind of like that kind of it kind of weirds me out. Like I don't
It's
really
weird to
relate.
think about, yeah.
It's just weird. Like I don't have a problem with it, but since I can't really read print, I'm not bothered by not doing that. So I would have no desire to sit there,
Oh,
you know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I get you, man. I
Yeah,
get
that's
you.
very interesting. But some people who are blind, who have a visual impairment, are able to use their vision a little bit better. So it might be possible, but I don't know. That is very, very, very fascinating. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Well, of
Just
course.
different people, I guess.
Right, right. I guess is yes, yes.
Yeah.
So before I, reached out to your studio, had you ever like heard of Aaron's opinion before? Has Nikki ever mentioned Aaron's opinion and the work I do here?
I don't think Nikki ever told me about Aaron's opinion, but she told me about Aaron. She said Aaron was a really cool guy. She talked about, yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
man.
nice. That's so
And
good.
so that's when I knew when I got the message from you. I was like, oh, this is the same guy. Cool. You know, and
Yeah.
Aaron's opinion, man, that sounds really huge. I can't say that I haven't heard about it. I probably heard about it already. Honestly, I probably heard about your podcast, man. Probably even on radio or something. I don't know. Wow, I think I've heard it.
It's entirely
Yeah.
possible that you were listening to UVC and you heard me talking about it, or something to that effect. Yes, yes. Well, one of
Man,
the so where do you see your studio in like 5 years or something like that?
man, five years is a lot of time. 5 years
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of time, man. It's probably not even probably. It's gonna be way better
Mm-hmm.
and way refined, you know. Yeah, I really love to step things up and that's how we roll. We're not afraid to make the big moves. So it's gonna be cool. Still gonna be producing music, but you know, higher level, high quality. Everything goes up. Don't go
Mm-hmm.
down.
Well, I got a big move for you. That I have an idea for a big move for you. Do you want to hear an idea for a big move for your studio?
Come on, man. Tell
You
me about it.
know, I've noticed something. I've had a podcast show for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and I love the connection with everybody around the universe. But I've noticed Aaron's opinion doesn't have a song. Do you think you could write a song for me for my podcast?
Like a theme song,
Yeah.
Aaron's opinion. That's what I'm gonna call it. Is there a special genre that it's supposed
Well,
to
I
be
appreciate
in,
it.
or
Yeah. I
just
mean, I
wing it?
think, you know what? Here's what I would want. And I'm just using, I'm certainly not saying that you need to do any of this at all. I mean, I would love it from the bottom of my heart if you would, man. But like, I guess, is it even technically possible to produce three different versions of one song and then I choose the one that I like? Is that possible?
Of course it is, man.
Okay.
I'm
So
Kelly Indigo.
well, okay, Kelly Indigo. I want three the versions that I want. You know what I want? I want three versions. One version number one, choice one, wing it. So give me a wing it. Choice number two, have Nikki and you or whoever you want do some vocals, do some song like singing. So Nikki would, I'm sure, love to sing. We
Okay.
can talk her into it. She'll sing. And
Yeah.
number three would
Yeah.
number three would be some sort of a kind of a song that sounds very global because I have that I have listeners from all of the continents, so maybe a song where we can hear different sounds from different parts of the world to represent the
Oh,
spirit. Yeah.
man, all three of them are gonna be global. I'm gonna make three hit songs for you and choose which one you like.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, good.
That's so nice of
Yeah,
you.
yeah, because Nikki still does instrumentation and the beats. A lot of the piano you hear and the singing, that's her. So we're gonna do lit stuff. Yeah.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome. And then all I need is a MP3 of the final copy once I like it, and then that'll be on the podcast forever. That would be just the coolest thing ever. And I
Yeah,
would
man, that's
thank you
nothing.
so.
We'll do that for you.
Oh, that's well,
That's okay.
then you're gonna get my support then. So
Yeah, man, definitely.
that's so sweet of you. You know, there are so many people who would never be as kind as you to be so helpful and to just reach out and help someone like that.
Yeah.
That's so nice, man. Thank
Man,
you.
that's what it is. That's why we're called the universal connection.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, we believe in connecting with people around the world.
Mm,
You know, people people would link up, and it all depends on what the talent. Sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it's just making a real dope song. So someone would just like send us some vocals. Like we were with this guy Drizzy from Nigeria, and he sent us some vocals and he was singing it. We made the whole beats, we made the whole song out of just what he was singing. And and this dude was really happy to even like hear this. So like that's what we do. We like to help, we like to make stuff happen.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's wonderful. So good. So good. You are doing an excellent job with everything you're doing. If you can ask me now, only I've asked all my questions. I think we've had a wonderful recording, man. Um,
Yeah.
but if you can ask me only one question to really make me sweat, to really see if I'm worth my salt as a podcaster, what do you want to ask?
That's a big one. I don't know. Let me see. What question make me sweat? Nah, I don't know. Let's see. Man, that's a big one, man. I don't know. I don't know. Where do you see your podcast in the next 5 years?
I see it as a podcast that truly is a product that people turn to for help and knowledge. And I see it as something that people really continue to enjoy all over the world. I really want, we have about 195 countries all over the world, and I really want to see more and more flags coming up in the analytics. I want to really expand all the countries so
Yeah,
that we can really, really, really help people. Yeah. Yes.
that that is awesome.
Okay.
That's a
All right.
great answer, man.
and that was
Yeah.
that was a great recording. Thank you so much. If someone wants to get in touch with you personally, why don't you give yourself a plug, give yourself a shout out?
I'm Kelly Indigo, the producer and artist from St. Lucia. My WhatsApp is +1-758-519-7783.
Wonderful. All right, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. And now that you're forever a member of Aaron's Opinion, we you know that you're always welcome here. and we look forward to working with you very soon. All right.
All right, Aaron. Have a blessed one. Thanks for having me.
Have a blessed evening to you down there in St. Lucia.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Take care.